Hey, have you ever watched Mojo? WatchMojo is a soulless YouTube channel hell-bent on spamming out 4 to 5 videos a day of mediocre quality to make money and nothing else. You'd be surprised to figure out that such a channel is Canadian and not American, though you'd be forgiven for not knowing that considering they don't call themselves WatchMojo.ca. As a Canadian, not only do I apologize on behalf of this, I also apologize on behalf of the rest of the country as we don't know how to make anything of quality apparently.
Now I'm aware that WatchMojo is a dead meme and it seems like something that's a bit ill-fitting to be covered on my channel, but I don't care. You see, one day I was just minding my own business, probably doing something worthy of ridicule, and I had a thought. WatchMojo makes a lot of top 10s. So many top 10s that they've made videos that people would have joked about them making because their output is just so ridiculous. And from that, I had an awful, horrible idea, and I looked up in the YouTube search bar, WatchMojo, terrorism, and I found results. Top 10 movie terrorists. Top 10 ways terrorism changed
our daily lives.
Top 5 controversial terrorism facts. Were the other 5 non-controversial? Another top 10 movie terrorists. Oh, I guess the first top 10 didn't fully cover all of the best movie terrorists. Okay, so this is a little weird, but these videos are either videos about fictional movie characters or framed as facts. It's not like they're making a video about their picks for the top 10 infamous bombings in the Western world.
Welcome to WatchMojo.com, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 most infamous bombings based in the Western world.
Oh, they did do that. Epic! Man, I am so excited to see your picks for the top 10 bombing. The use of the word our picks along with the wording of top 10 implies that the top 10 isn't like tragedies ranked on how many died, but more so your favorite bombings that have happened. That isn't really what this video is. I wouldn't go as far as to say this video is pro-terrorist or something. It's technically speaking an educational video about 10 bombings. I just think it's kind of funny how little they seem to give a shit. If you're gonna make a fact video of 10 of the worst bombings in the Western world, perhaps ditch the our picks for the top 10 bombings wording. It comes off wrong to say the least. Watching the video too, there's a few more things that are quite sus to put it lightly. Here, let's just play a clip from top 10 worst marketing fails and then a clip from top 10 infamous bombings. I chose this video because it was made in the same month as the bombings one. I would have chose a video from the same day, but holy fuck, I'm not scrolling through a hive of over 20,000 videos, man.
Number 9, Facebook Beacon. In 2007, Mark Zuckerberg and Facebook launched Beacon, which allowed users' activity around the web to be shared with advertisers. The blast ultimately triggered a fire that engulfed the building as well as a neighboring structure. Over 100 people were injured in the blaze and more than 20 died.
Their tone is pretty much the exact same. They're treating scenarios where people lost their lives the same as funny marketing failure trivia, or any far less consequential trivia really. The same kind of stock music is in the background and the same style of narration is employed. That paired with the wording of our picks.
Our picks for the top 10 most infamous bombings
Makes this come off tasteless. Just a little bit. Now, there might be some people thinking about those criticisms I've made and saying, wow, sensitive. Are you saying that nobody can even mention terrorism without taking it incredibly seriously? Well, no, I'm not saying that you shouldn't ever talk about terrorism unless it's in a super serious way. You can if you want, but that's not what I'm saying. It just seems in this specific instance, the way they're talking about terrorism is a bit tasteless. I wouldn't say I'm offended by this, like personally, but I can not be offended by something and also recognize how hilariously distasteful it is at the same time. I find it hilarious, but for all of the reasons WatchMojo wouldn't want me finding them hilarious. I'm laughing at WatchMojo for this video. I'm making fun of them. How are you this soulless? Plus, even if we ignored the tastelessness, the video is also shit from an educational perspective, much like every single other WatchMojo video ever. The concept of making a video educating people on terrorist bombings isn't inherently flawed or bad, but unfortunately the way you present it does make it bad. Not just in the tastelessness, but also in the way you present the info. I watched this video 3 times now, and I barely remember any of the info. The only thing I remember is that they talked about a bombing at the World Trade Center that happened 8 years before 9/11. And that was back when I wrote this. Reading this out long after writing this, yeah, I don't remember anything other than the video existing. The point I'm trying to make here is that WatchMojo sucks at being educational. The video is 5 minutes long. Not only is the info they give the most general info possible without going into any kind of details or specifics, likely because they have to vomit out 4 more videos in the same day, but they also speed through all of the info, so it's hard to even take in the minimal amount of info you're receiving anyway. That part might just be on me, but I'm assuming I'm not the only person who's unable to take in all of the info because they speed through it so fast.
Number 8. The Unabomber, Ted Kaczynski. While the bombing efforts of Theodore John Kaczynski did not result in hundreds of deaths, they did wound many and caused the FBI to label him a domestic terrorist. Between 1978 and 1995, the Unabomber targeted computer stores, universities, airlines, and more with his mail bombs as a way to draw attention to his anti-technology and anti-industrial views. Number 7.
On top of that, the editing and presentation is insanely basic. You mix this all together and what you get is the top 10 fact equivalent of flavorless oatmeal. Lemino level top 10s these aren't by any means.
It might seem a little mean to pick on WatchMojo for this video they made 11 years ago.
Oh, fuck.
It might seem a little mean to pick on WatchMojo for this video they made 11 years ago, but I don't care, this is funny. As in, it's funny they thought this was a good idea to begin with. If you were listening to me talk about this video and didn't see the dates, then you probably didn't even notice that this video was a decade old.
Now, this isn't the only sus video that WatchMojo has made that I want to take a look at today. We also got 10 mass shootings inside the US with Columbine in the thumbnail.
Today we'll be counting down 10 of the most infamous mass shootings in United States history.
What the fuck?
You know, at least they didn't call it top 10. Without the top, it seems less like a ranking list of your favorite shootings or like a celebratory leaderboard.
Oh, no, wait, it says it right there in the first line of the description. Top 10 infamous mass shootings in the US. Subscribe. They also broke out the sad stock music for this one to get you feeling bad until you forget you even watched this video 10 minutes later.
And while he left behind a list of people who had done him wrong, his reason for killing was never established. Number 9. The 2011 Tucson shooting.
They even got some piano music during the number transitions. At least the tone is slightly different for this one.
These violent tragedies are a sobering reminder of how quickly life can change.
What a wonderfully generic statement. I think this shit more so makes you realize how quickly it could end, considering guns are oddly enough a very effective way to kill people, seeing as it keeps happening all the time.
Columbine was still one of the deadliest ever American school shootings. Images from that day continue to haunt us.
Yeah, is that why the bit you're playing right now as you say that is the fucking thumbnail of this video?
Oliver Huberty killed 22 people before he was downed by a sniper's bullet inside a McDonald's. Huberty's wife later unsuccessfully attempted to sue the restaurant chain by claiming their chicken McNuggets led to her husband's psychosis.
What the fuck?
You wanna know one massive flaw with a video like this? It's not even the fact that it exists, and yet again, it's so substanceless that you end up remembering nothing afterward. No. In making a video about US shootings, the day after you upload it, it's immediately gonna get dated. But hey, if you aren't a fan of shootings within the US, which I would hope you are, you can also check out top 10 mass shootings outside the US. Oh, and this one is a top 10, hell yeah. I can't wait to see the best shootings outside of America. I'll put my money on, actually, I don't think I should be placing bets on mass shootings.
These violent tragedies are a sobering reminder of how quickly life can change.
Hey, that's the same intro from the last video.
These violent tragedies are a sobering reminder of how quickly life can change.
I know that it is possible for a shooting to be statistically worse than another, but still, I can't imagine being a victim or a family member of a victim of one of these shootings and seeing that the one that affected you was number 7 in the worst shootings ever.
Check out more historical top 10s by subscribing to WatchMojo.com.
The phrase "stay in your lane" is popping up in my head. You guys should probably just focus on stupid game and movie videos.
Mainly because you guys focus on making ranking lists more so than videos just educating people about facts.
It just kind of seems a bit ill-fitting to do a video about super serious shit.
Check out more historical top 10s by subscribing to WatchMojo.com.
Speaking of history, top 10 historical deaths.
These people might actually be remembered best for their deaths rather than the lives they lived.
You were so preoccupied with whether or not you could do that, you didn't stop to think, why the fuck would you do that? Like, why even do this to begin with? What's the point? To make me laugh? If so, that's very nice of you. Oh yeah, wait, I forgot. It's because of your requirement to shut out 4 videos a fucking day. Guess we need to do one about popular deaths.
After which he was emasculated.
Apparently in this context, that means chopped his dick off.
Number 6, Anne Boleyn. Number 4, Ted Bundy.
I find their range of historical very interesting. Like, you'd think from the thumbnail that they'd be talking about executions from the Middle Ages when people lived in castles and the next Shakespeare play was the hot new shit.
And I mean, yeah, there are some entries like that.
But then there's also stuff like Ted Bundy from the 80s and some things that are even more recent than that. I guess it's just deaths that are old, whether they range from 40 years ago or 400. Man, with that range, I wonder what historical executions are going to be number 1. Something I should mention too is that in these videos, WatchMojo doesn't necessarily shy away from showing some pretty graphic footage. Like the bombing video was age restricted because of that. As they're talking about how the video of Saddam Hussein's hanging being leaked was controversial, they show very snuffy footage of him with a noose around his neck and then falling. I'm not necessarily disgusted by them doing that personally, and showing graphic footage in this way, as in a video that's educational, isn't as tasteless as that one video everyone knows with the vlogger in the forest. I mean, the educational video isn't good, but this is the context in which you would show that footage, you know? However, I will say it still seems a bit tasteless, considering the tone of the video isn't much different than their other generic soulless content farm style videos they have. Also, like many other WatchMojo videos, they heavily focus on the ranking aspect. And let's not forget, they have this fucking smiling watermark in the corner the whole time. Now, none of the videos previously to this one have included honorable mentions, probably because that would make them look even worse. Imagine implying a shooting wasn't awful enough to make a top 10 and was given the title of an honorable mention. Honorable. Like, no. However, I guess this video about real life people executed is completely fine to do that with. I don't know, I guess it's because most of them were criminals or whatever. Still feels a little weird. Anyway, to pay off what I set up earlier, what's the number 1 historical death, WatchMojo?
Number 1, Jesus.
Oh. Okay. WatchMojo, such a magical YouTube channel. What other YouTube channel can have a top 10 list that contains Guy Fawkes, Ted Bundy, Saddam Hussein, Joan of Arc, and Jesus? That's the only humorous observation I could make without potentially pissing off religious people that could give me money. So I'm just gonna shut up and move on to top 10 notorious hate groups with the KKK in the thumbnail. Actually, moving on to this was probably a bad idea.
Welcome to WatchMojo.com, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 notorious hate groups. Number 4, the Westboro Baptist Church. The church is known for picketing with signs declaring God hates faggots.
Oh yeah, this was made in 2014. For the record, they didn't censor that word there. I did. This was made in that crazy time before modern YouTube, so they weren't as scared of YouTube as I am now by showing that clip. By the way, as a man who can be sexually attracted to other men, I speak for literally every other man attracted to other men, gay or otherwise, when I say, WatchMojo lady, we don't forgive you for committing the horrible crime of being part of WatchMojo. Also, later in the video, they play a clip of this guy saying some really mean shit.
We hate we hate Jews, we hate and we hate
But that's rude.
What's interesting is that WatchMojo does censor swear words sometimes.
Fighting more is such a bore.
They just choose not to in some videos, and that's why there's a mature content thing here. You know, it's quite weird hearing slurs said in content farm videos, especially in the original legitimately hateful context, or quoting that hateful context they were originally in. This kind of content is normally the safest corporate sludge possible, so hearing slurs is quite the whiplash. Though I guess the point of this video is that WatchMojo can be kind of insane sometimes. Also, I find it quite peculiar how this is the most replayed part of the video. Okay, enough of that shit. I've noticed that we've kind of strayed away from tragedies and are now just onto strange things to make a top 10 about, or at least for WatchMojo to make a top 10 about, I guess. So here's another one. Top 10 cults. What the hell? You guys didn't even frame it under the guise of tragic or infamous. This just looks like a top 10 list of your favorite cults.
Welcome to WatchMojo.com, and today we'll be counting down our picks for the top 10 most well-known cults.
Okay, then why didn't you title it that?
For this list, we've defined a cult as a movement or group that follows a set of beliefs that others find strange or fail to understand.
Do you have the slightest idea how little that narrows it down?
And that praises their leader as a godlike figure.
Do you have the slightest idea how—
Some, but not all, have negative connotations.
It means that even the mind that you had as a human is aborted.
Later in this video, we find out that the clip they're using to support this is the Heaven's Gate cult, which WatchMojo tells us that the leader, along with 38 other members, committed suicide in. Some, but not all, come with negative connotation. You know, I can't help but notice how often their stupid watermark overlaps watermarks from places they get their footage. It's not like there's 3 other corners you can put that in. And why the hell do you guys even need a watermark anyway? Okay, what else is there? How about top 10 This was made all the way back in the before times in 2015, so no. Polio isn't on the list. At this point, this list doesn't even seem out of the ordinary. I've been completely desensitized. By the way, if you don't think 10 is enough, there's also top 20 epidemics released in April of 2020, the same time I was stuck at home for absolutely no reason at all. Polio isn't in here either, by the way, but do you want to know what is in here? The same script they used 5 years ago for top 10 epidemics.
Number 10. The third cholera pandemic. The unlucky victims of this disease suffered through hellish final days, with diarrhea, vomiting, and resulting dehydration being the main symptoms.
Number 14. The third cholera pandemic. The unlucky victims of this disease suffered through hellish final days, with diarrhea, vomiting, and resulting dehydration being the main symptoms.
Oh, well, Kyle, that's only like one entry. It's not like they do anymore, otherwise that'd be a punchline to the thing I just said.
Number 9. The Asian flu pandemic of 1957. Though it can be confirmed that this outbreak of the influenza A virus started in China, the exact origins of the virus are contested.
Number 10. The Asian flu pandemic of 1957. Though it can be confirmed that this outbreak of the influenza A virus started in China, the exact origin of the virus is contested.
Number 8. The World War I typhus epidemic. Taking place during a time of incredible strife, this typhus outbreak was another devastating result of World War I. Number 9. The World War I typhus epidemic. Taking place during a time of incredible strife, this typhus outbreak was another devastating result of World War I.
Number 7. Kokolitzli.
Number 5. Kokolistli.
The Plague of Justinian.
The Plague of Justinian.
The Antonine Plague.
The Antonine.
Third Plague Pandemic.
Third Plague.
HIV, AIDS.
HIV.
The 1918 Flu Pandemic.
The 1918
The Black Death.
The Black Death.
That was 10 entries. The number placement is different, but when they talk about an epidemic they talked about in the top 10, it's quite literally the same info, just with new footage, or rearranged footage. It's like they re-released a video game, but with the DLC included. What's weird is that WatchMojo do make sequels, like top 10 worst CGI effects and another top 10 worst CGI effects. I can only assume the reason why they didn't do another top 10 worst epidemics right when the world was first being engulfed by the staying inside all day disease is because it didn't look as good as a WatchMojo list about epidemics that's twice as big as the norm. Sure, it reuses content, but it's not like people remember the first one. This is WatchMojo. People wouldn't remember it if it came out a month ago.
Well, guess what, WatchMojo? I figured it out. I see everything. And now, without any kind of natural segue whatsoever, let's talk about how WatchMojo likes to make lists involving sexualization for no reason.
Type in WatchMojo sexy and you're met with a lot. Top 10 sexiest characters of all time. Despite Jessica Rabbit being in the thumbnail, they don't put her in the list. The reason, by the way, makes no sense.
We also won't be including one-off characters who thus don't have a progression of sexiness. So you won't be seeing Jessica Rabbit either.
What do you mean by one-off? She's a pretty pivotal character. She's Roger Rabbit's wife. And what the fuck is a progression of sexiness? I'm so confused. Hey, you wanna know who is on this list though?
Number 7. The Old Spice Guy. Old Spice ads. You're probably thinking this one's a joke.
If some guy from some commercial counts as a character, what is on the table exactly? Did you examine every character ever of all time? Something tells me the answer is no. Top 10 sexy female non-human characters in video games. What a mouthful. No, there isn't a male non-human equivalent. Also, yes, there is a furry on this list, though she is an honorable mention. That'll be important for later. Top 10 movie strip teases. Here's how that one starts, by the way.
Woo! Take it off!
Welcome to Watch.
Okay, what else is there? Sexiest music videos. Sexiest scenes in PG-13 movies. Sexiest women of all time. Just in general. Top 10 cartoon MILFs. How epic. They have a top 20 sexiest accents. What the fuck?
Welcome to WatchMojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 20 sexiest accents.
Why does this one have such a large like to dislike ratio? It's not much less weird than every other video we've talked about so far. Top 10 nerdy characters who are hot in real life. Yes, if you're a nerd, you can't be hot. It's mutually exclusive. Actually, no, scratch that. There's also sexy female nerds on TV. By the way, going back to the nerdy characters who are hot in real life, Hermione from Harry Potter is on that list.
Now, admit it. You didn't expect this little first year with the unruly hair to become such a sexy witch as she moved through the years at Hogwarts. But when Hermione donned that pink gown for the Yule Ball in Goblet of Fire, her fellow students weren't the only heads turning.
Guys, this isn't okay. Top 10 sexiest Canadian female celebrities. I included this one mainly so I could point out the description. Canada might be cold, but it's definitely home to some of the hottest women in the entertainment business. Dude, I'm Canadian and I don't recognize any of these names, aside from Pamela Anderson. I know more sexy male Canadians. Keanu Reeves, Nathan Drake, Ryan Reynolds, specifically when he's in the Deadpool makeup. Okay, so how many videos did I name there? Like 10? Nope. Cool. On an unrelated note, there's an entire 50 video playlist of hot top 10 lists. Some videos are even privated. Who knows what kind of sexy sex were in those videos? Fret not though, there is a second playlist with more sex to make up for it. What is the purpose of these videos existing? I mean, yeah, people like sexy shit because being horny and masturbating is fun and all that. And there's nothing inherently wrong with enjoying consensual sexual stuff. It's just that this is YouTube. Do horny people use this as self-foreplay before watching actual porn or something? By the way, as you'd probably expect, these lists are quite female-dominated, just in terms of how much they seem to focus on women. Way to go against the wishes of Hermione Granger.
Watson's kept it up on screen and off, both as a stunningly beautiful actress and as a fierce advocate for gender equality.
However, luckily, Miss Mojo has all the straight women, gay men, and bi people covered with some sexy men videos. Sexiest video game men, sure, why not?
Just because you're made of pixels doesn't mean you don't got it going on. Number 7. Joel, The Last of Us. One of the more complex characters on this list, Joel's story begins with tragedy as he witnesses the death of his daughter during a zombie apocalypse.
Ah yes, very sexy, a true DILF.
Let me smash.
By the way, Leon, Link, Geralt, and Sake are honorable mentions, but there is a numbered spot for that guy from Assassin's Creed 2. How are these lists ranked? Also, no, Luigi is not number 1. Nathan Drake is, which is acceptable, I suppose. Also, yes, this is Miss Mojo, not WatchMojo. I find it quite strange how the videos lusting over men are the ones that are gendered by being put on Miss Mojo. There's no Mr. Mojo though. In the sexy female lists and general sexy characters lists that mainly feature women are put on the non-gendered and generally presented WatchMojo channel. I also find it really strange how there are also far more LGBTQ plus videos on Miss Mojo than WatchMojo for some reason. Why are they gendering LGBTQ representation? Also, yeah, let's not ignore how WatchMojo has a bunch of other channels because apparently 5 videos a day on one channel wasn't enough. We've already discussed Miss Mojo, which has lists that appeal to women, like Top 10 Hilarious, The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody Running Gags. There's also Get Mojo and More Mojo with view numbers that are worse than mine. Alternate language versions of WatchMojo for those who speak Japan language.
第8位、マイク・エルマン・トラウトの運命。恐ろしいマイク・エルマン・トラウト、メスの帝国のあらゆる障害を取り除くのを助けてきました。
Yes, I too love Breaking Bad. There's channels that are dead, like Game Show Mojo, and more specific WatchMojo channels for videos that I guess wouldn't fit on the main channel, even though it's just the same kind of shit that would go on their main channel. By the way, going back to the sexiness, despite having videos where they count down sexualized media characters and also seem to glorify them quite heavily, they will also make videos where they count down needlessly sexualized media characters as well, because WatchMojo is the greatest channel on YouTube. Top 20 needlessly sexualized movie characters. Hey, I got one. Hermione from Top 10 nerdy characters who are hot in real life.
There's really no need for that. Welcome to WatchMojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 20 needlessly sexualized movie characters. Number 4, Michaela Baines, Transformers. We get it. Megan Fox is hot. She also plays a character that is supposed to be in high school, which makes her sexualization highly problematic in this film. While Michael Bay similarly over-sexualizes Rosie Huntington-Whiteley in Transformers: Dark of the Moon, at least her character was of legal age.
And today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 on-screen nerds who are actually sexy in real life. Number 2, Hermione Granger, the Harry Potter franchise. But when Hermione donned that pink gown for the Yule Ball in Goblet of Fire, her fellow students weren't the only heads turning.
Guys, pick one and stick to one. Preferably this one.
Number 20, Ruby Roundhouse. Jumanji, Welcome to the Jungle.
I thought the whole point of her character was a satirization of the...
With half a t-shirt and extra short shorts, it seemed like the filmmakers were going out of their way to accentuate Ruby Roundhouse's body.
Why am I wearing this outfit in a jungle? Tiny little shorts and a leather halter top. I mean, what is this?
Upon seeing the movie, however, skeptics realized that that's kind of the point. Ruby's outfit is intended to poke fun at how scantily clad female video game heroines are.
That it's not needless then, you fucking morons. Do you not understand the definition of this word? By the way, number 1 on this list is just the cats from Cats. Like, it's not even an individual character, it's every character. I don't know what fucking movie they watch because these are the least sexy human cat hybrids I've ever seen in my life. Also, no, I wouldn't call them sexualized by the movie. I mean, they're naked, but they don't have genitals or nipples. They just have thin body shapes. I think the sexualization here is on you guys. And yet again, much like their epidemic videos, WatchMojo reuses some entries in this list from another similar list, Top 10 Needlessly Sexualized Female Movie Characters. At least it was read by someone else this time.
And we were given the famous gold bikini outfit in Return of the Jedi. While this answered the prayers of every fanboy, it felt like a cheap exploit of a strong female character, one the film really didn't need.
Come on, we gotta get out of here. And we were given the famous gold bikini outfit in Return of the Jedi. While this answered the prayers of every fanboy, it felt like a cheap exploit of a strong female character, one the film didn't really need. Come on, we gotta get out of here.
We're limiting our list to females, as the males deserve their own list.
That you never made. Come on, guys, I thought you were all for gender equality.
We're excluding those characters that assume the classic femme fatale role.
This list was made before, so I guess they changed their mind later.
Number 11, Catwoman. Catwoman. From Julie Newmar to Michelle Pfeiffer, sex has always been a major facet of Catwoman's personality. Even for a femme fatale, however, Halle Berry's version overcompensates.
As well as those characters that were intended to be extremely sexy.
What? Why? I'm pretty sure all of these characters were intended to be sexy. It's not like the creators of these movies spilled coffee on the film reels, which in turn caused the characters to somehow become sexualized by accident. Lola Bunny makes it on this list where they say the same thing twice because they said it in the other video.
Just because you don't have an obvious female lead in a film doesn't mean you have to turn a side character into an object of sexual desire. Especially if that character is a bunny.
Just because you don't have an obvious female lead in a film doesn't mean you need to turn a side character into an object of sexual desire, especially if that character is a bunny.
Now, Lola Bunny is anthropomorphic, and she has human attributes and human thoughts and shit. She's a furry character. This is important because do you know who else is anthropomorphic and has human attributes and thoughts and shit and is a furry character? Crystal from Star Fox Adventures, an honorable mention on your top 10 sexiest non-human female video game characters list. What is happening? This video's #1 spot is Megan Fox again, by the way, in case you couldn't get enough of WatchMojo repeating themselves yet also contradicting themselves.
While Michael Bay similarly over-sexualizes Rosie Huntington-Whiteley in Transformers: Dark of the Moon, at least her character was of legal age.
Can you tell that this company just cycles through a billion writers? Anyway, I've said it in a bunch of different ways, but I think I should just blatantly say it up front. WatchMojo, you can't make videos lusting over characters you think are sexy in media and even sexualizing characters that aren't intended to be sexy at all.
We're counting down our picks for the top 10 sexiest moms in video games. Number 2, Freya, God of War series. Yeah, laugh it up, haha. WatchMojo has a thing for mommy gods. We see your typing and we see through your shield. You know damn well that you share the same feelings for Freya as we do.
Liar! While simultaneously calling out those same fucking things for over-sexualizing or needlessly sexualizing those characters as well. It doesn't work. Do one or the other, I don't care, but you can't have your cake and eat it too.
Needlessly sexualized female movie characters. Black Widow, The Avengers. Female characters in comic books are often exploited for their sexuality and depicted with large breasts that are barely held in by skin-tight leather outfits. This is no different with Black Widow. While the Avengers did seem like they toned down her sexuality a bit from the comics, they still gave her a tight leather number that seemed quite impractical for fighting aliens.
Top 20 sexiest characters of all time. Number 1, Black Widow, Marvel. All respect to James Bond, but there's one super spy that has the physical assets to back up her espionage prowess more than him, and it's Black Widow. Black Widow's fighting abilities are perhaps only eclipsed by her sex appeal, which, like a real-life Black Widow, will draw you in with its deadly charms.
We live in an actual nightmare!
We also got top 10 weirdly sexualized cartoon characters. Apparently it's not needless in this one, it's just weird. The word weirdly in the title implied there'd be more shaming or criticism at the sexualization, but no, it's just more of the same, yeah, this character's hot thing, but the things they're thirsting over aren't as conventional to thirst over than celebrities. Number 9 on this list is Cleo from Pinocchio. I still haven't seen Pinocchio, so at first I thought this was the hyper-realistic fairy, but no. It's the fish.
The classic gangster threat of sleeping with the fishes may not sound half bad if it means you get to hang out with Geppetto's aquatic pet.
Yeah, we're gonna criticize Space Jam for having an anthropomorphic rabbit character that's incredibly sexualized.
Doesn't mean you need to turn a side character into an object of sexual desire, especially if that character is a bunny. Surely that can't meet the uniform standards in the basketball rulebook. Plus, she's a bunny.
Put the far less anthropomorphic in comparison goldfish? Yeah, we're not passing on that. We'd like to sleep with that fish.
Number 3, Skeletor.
Boner joke. And number 1 on this list is Lola Bunny. You'd think they'd use this time to criticize her tits again or criticize people who like her tits or something like that, but no. They instead pull a complete 180.
Her hyper-feminine attributes confused and or awakened things in more than a few fans over the years. From her blonde trusses to her bawling ability, this tantalizing tune will always be our MVP.
Word around town is that you're a furry.
They also made a top 20...
Everywhere I go, I see her face.
I watched the first 3 seconds and saw handsome Squidward. I'm fine with ending it there. I feel like if I kept going, I'd just be saying the same shit I've said in this video already. I'm honestly shocked I got this much material out of this channel at all, so I'm done. That's all I can take. I just watched a bunch of Mojo and now I feel worse. WatchMojo is a terrifying nightmare company that makes no sense and also clearly doesn't give a shit about anything it says or does. They're pretty much the dictionary definition of content farm. This isn't a channel that wants to educate you on tragedies or world events. This isn't a channel that wants to educate you on pop culture. This isn't a channel that has any kind of consistent viewpoints or opinions they want to share. They are a soulless corporation hell-bent on spamming out 4 to 5 videos a day of mediocre quality to make money and nothing else. This content is worthless sludge, a waste of server space. They're a company whose drive to create content is throwing darts at walls for topics and tasking their pit of hundreds of writers and editors to only make videos for the sake of keeping momentum. There is no heart and there is no purpose behind each video they make. It's just shit. Since starting the editing of this video to editing this part now, they've released over 150 videos, and I've been editing this video for 3 weeks. And that's just on their main channel. I'm just wondering how much longer this channel will last. They have so many other channels. They have such an expansive backlog of videos, and they release so many new ones per day that it almost seems like they earn enough views to keep going forever.
I just realized they're pretty much the cancer of YouTube in terms of endlessly expanding waste for no reason other than the sake of expansion, even though nobody wants it to expand. And yeah, I don't really have much else to say, really. Fuck WatchMojo.